Yo guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another weekly forecast, and you probably may notice that there's no camera on the top right. I'm feeling a little under the weather anyway this weekend, so I look absolutely awful. So I'm just gonna keep the camera off, but still provide the same content that you guys need in terms of what I'm expecting next week, what happened last week, and we'll go from there. So we're gonna start off the sort of forecast by just looking at the trades and just reviewing last week really and what happened. So to start off the week on Monday, price absolutely pushed down, clearing out all of the previous lows and pushed down quite hard. So then what I was doing is on the 4 hour time frame, I did mark out some of the fair value gaps just to see where price would sort of slow down and where would we see price sort of start to reverse, right? That's the first thing that you want to start doing if you see an impulsive move down, because sometimes you may not be able to jump on that move down, because it did happen overnight for us here in the UK, and then once price was at the low down here, this was US session, so then price did give us one extra push down. A lot of people, I think even us, we were looking for a potential reversal, but we didn't get that sort of price action to start buying, and then price ended up pushing down. But you can see where price ended up reacting off. And I know this is hindsight, but I had this marked up right before price got into it. I was looking at this 4 hour fair value gap to see if price actually held on this and actually rejected. And then on the hour time frame, you can push up and you can start seeing that, okay, we ended up getting a push down, price took the liquidity of that, and then we ended up getting a reversal on Tuesday where price pushed up. But now around this area, you have your resistance level where price kept hitting that level and failed to break up. And it was this sort of price action that actually set up a trade that we ended up taking on Wednesday, and that was a fantastic trade that we took. It was around 3% gain, and those are the trades that you sort of want to look for in like miss Monday, miss Tuesday, but you get a nice 3% trade on one day. Those are the trades that you end up setting up, and that's what I want to talk about today, and give you guys a little bit more information on what I was looking for and how we ended up taking that trade. So once we saw price push up, I was expecting this move here to break above the prior high, but we didn't get that. Price ended up slowing down here, failed again, and then sort of started creating some equal lows down here. So I created some liquidity over here. Let me see where my template relatively equal lows, and then we also have created what at the top here, liquidity at the top. So then this is how we sort of start marking the charts, and this sets up trades sort throughout the week. We have relatively equal highs here. If we can zoom in now, you can see that price action sort of bounced between these two levels, and then now this is Wednesday. So we're now in Wednesday, so Tuesday was sort of a bit of a consolidative day. My main target is to see if price wants to continue and push above this key high here, because we know there's going to be a lot of stop losses sitting above here. So when you have a big sort of push down and price wants to sort of reverse, you want to target that move that initiated that move down, because a lot of people would say that, okay, it's going to stop here and we can start selling stop losses above the high and we're going to go lower, yeah. But you know, we're at a key level where price could potentially reverse. Which level is that? Let me zoom out for you guys. It was this 4 hour fair value gap. Okay, so among this 4 hour fair value gap, it's that sort of turning point for me. It's like, okay, from this area I want to look for bullish moves, right? Because on Monday we had that move into the fair value gap. It's collected its liquidity. Throughout the rest of the week, I would like to see a move back up into this downwards move, unless you start seeing other confirmations to say that, right, price wants to keep pushing further lower. But yeah, that was the sort of bias for this week. So what ended up happening is on Wednesday, we ended up getting this push down during a London session, and then once we collected the relatively equal lows, we removed this line. Now what's the only green line left on this chart at the moment? It's these highs, right? And it was over here where we ended up, where was it? It was right here where I was saying that, right, price would sort of pull back and then we should see an attack of these relatively equal highs, and then obviously we ended up getting this move, and then there we have it. We have price hit and take profit. So again, this is not stuff that I'm calling off hindsight by looking back at it. This is stuff that we're calling live in the market. So again, if you guys want to get in on VIP, you know where to find us. The link is in the description. But if we go and show you a little replay here to see actually what happened, so you guys can sort of follow the market, price actually took out these equal lows here. We're waiting for a break of structure, and this is the only thing that you guys should sort of be doing when trading, is look for that confirmation. So price is currently pushing down here. This could be a good place to buy, but I'm waiting for that confirmation, and there's that confirmation where price pushes up, and then we want to see a retest of that area. There's an initial retest, there's a second retest, so you can see that price took out both highs here. This is the nasty one for me. I wanted to talk about this here, where price actually gave us a retest here, broke above the high, and then what did it do again? Broke below the low here. So it's taking out stop losses. But right when it filled that area, which was here, remember what I said about timing? 10 o'clock, guys. 10 o'clock New York time. This is 9:45, this candle. 9:45 here. So this, around about that time, I'm expecting that time price theory, where if price is in a certain area at that right time, you should get that move straight towards your target now, because it's got to happen. If it wants to happen, it's got to happen at this time. So 10 o'clock, price then taps in, and then what do we start seeing? We start seeing price make that move up, make that move up, and make that move up, and then we have it. There we have it. Take profit, and look at that rejection, right? Because it's collected the liquidity, collected all the liquidity above these highs, and now the sellers, the early sellers are now taken out. Now the market can start moving down because it's taken out all of the early sellers. They've got in, the market makers have got into the market here, and now they want to push price down. But it's this move here that we want to focus on, is because we had the indication at London session that we've taken out the lows first, and now we're going to target the highs, and then it's this area here from 10 o'clock. All happened in a matter in just 1 hour. This whole trade was just 1 hour. That's 3% in 1 hour, right? Talk about 3% on 100k. Then you're talking like what, 3k in an hour? Crazy. So that's just the main trade that I wanted to talk about. You know, this thing did actually happen the next day as well. So if we end up exiting replay mode, and then I go to the next day, the same thing happened again, where price. So this was the move that we were talking about, right? You can see what happened, right? Took out all of the sellers. What happened to the market after? Price moved down. You see, it moved down to this little area here, right? We have an imbalance here. This is an order block. Price came back to retest it, but we're still bullish because none of the prior lows have been broken, right? So overnight, price dumped obviously on market open, and then we had a straight push up, and we're waiting for that retest. We got that retest here, and this is the setup I ended up sending on the free channel, where I was looking for something like this, but unfortunately market ended up moving up a little higher. It failed to take out the previous low. It retested an order block, and I'll point that out to you around about here. So you have a move up, you have a move down, and then price ended up retesting that area here within this area, and then price ended up pushing up. But look at the timing again. And this is the thing I was thinking about, that buy limit. I was like, damn it, I should just manually enter. And this is the thing that was going through my head, because you got to remember the timing. 10 o'clock move, 10:15, 10:30, take profit here. Half an hour. You got a move that took another 2-3%, for example, in half an hour. And then you have this one that took an hour. That's your 2 trades done for the week. And that's what, 6%, for example. So the second one we missed, again, is an ideal scenario. I'm going to look back at that and say that, yeah, we could have entered, but I did call that same move that's what's going to happen. You can see that price is just given these key levels, these sort of moves down before the session and then move back up. You know, you want to look for those sort of manipulation moves prior. Usually you get the manipulation just before the session, or at 8 o'clock, and then 9-10 a.m. New York time, you'll get that straight move straight to take profit. Won't happen all the time, but it's something to keep in mind. So that is the little breakdown from last week. I hope you guys sort of benefited off that. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, and yeah, And if you're not subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button, because I'm giving this information for free. It's crazy. This is stuff that should be only given to the VIPs, but I see that this information is free already, as you can see from ICT, all this sort of stuff. So it's already free out there. You just gotta go find it. But I'm just giving you that more condensed, specific version for gold and how we did it for last week, sort of thing. But anyway, going into Friday, price ended up retesting this 4-hour fair value gap. Then we ended again a slower down on Friday, and this leads us into next week's forecast. So going into next week's forecast, we have this main move to keep thinking about here. So Monday's main move, we have the dealing range currently that I'm trading off is from this high to this low, right? So anything in here, we want to look for potential retracements and then potential continuations, or if it wants to sort of clean up and continue higher, then we got to look out for that as well. So the sort of fair value gaps in my way at the moment is this 4-hour fair value gap at the moment that we've tested. We've retested this. If price pushes back in, I'd consider this 4-hour fair value gap like obviously filled, and we're likely to see price push higher, right? If we see price push back in here, the next target obviously would be for price to retest this 4-hour fair value gap and see what reaction we get. If we start seeing still bullish price action, prices in early parts of the week, and we're seeing a lot of bullish moves, then we're obviously going to see price continue its run back up to the highs. You know, I wouldn't say that this bull run's over and gold is bearish now, because we've just sort of given us a pullback, retest the 4-hour value gap, and now we're climbing again. So we want to see, you know, these sort of what's the word for it? Indications that are given from the market during these London session, Asian sessions, and that will likely print out what will likely happen in US session. It's the same thing when we look at news. If price is really low before the news, you're likely to see a big push up with the news, and the same thing if price is pushed up all the way all night to the highest point of the day or the week, then you're likely to see a bearish move with the news. So same thing happens with these are the indications that the market gives you. But going into next week, what I'm thinking, what I would like to see is I would like to see what happens with these lows here. If price sort of pushes down at the start of the week, right, we want to see what happens. This is the main key level here. If price stays above 23.10, I would like to see price push back up, keep pushing up. Use these sort of previous lows as your support levels, where you want to see price just keep climbing. Yeah, I want to see price use these as stepping stones to keep pushing price up. I wouldn't outrule obviously the bulls at the moment, so I'd stay with the trend. It's still bullish. Price is still low within the dealing range, and this is one way to find out, is if you draw a fib from high to low, straighten that to ICT, and then you mark out the 50%. And this is actually quite cool because you can see where we have our slowdown, right? So from this dealing range where price ended up pushing down, this is the current range that currently price is trading within. You see that price ended retracing up to the 50% level. So this is where we had our first level of resistance at the 50%. Why? Because price was 50% more expensive for the sellers. And it's for a 4-hour fair value gap. You had all these confirmations, and this would have been a key level to sell. So now we want to see if price pushes back above that 50% level. If we still have price being lower than 50%, this is still a good area to keep buying, right? Because it's still a discount, unless we see price start breaking these prior sort of stepping stone levels, these higher lows, sorry. If price starts pushing below that, then you could get a flip scenario where price wants to continue down. But I think for going into the next week, I'd stay with a bullish bias. If we look at the weekly time frame, let me remove all of these drawings. Give me a sec. Okay, and we go into the weekly time frame. I'm just going to show you something that caught my eye. What price has done is we ended again on big push up, a slowdown, that was a rejection, and then price traded within that range, and then we got a bearish push down. Price has now collected the lows of these two previous weeks, tapped into this fair value gap, and we had a rejection. So this could sort of point out that the next week we could get a bullish move back up, at least to push above this weekly high. You can see that there's no wick as well above this weekly high. That means that there's a lot more liquidity, and that hardly happens in the market. We usually get nice clean sort of wicks on either side, but due to obviously the fundamentals and the tensions over with Israel and Iran, we end up just getting a big dump down. So I think that price would like to come back up to at least push above this daily high here. You can see on the on Monday 22nd. So that should be something to sort of keep an eye on. So prices pulled down, retested this order block here on the daily, right? I would like to see bullish moves continuing over next week. So I'm favoring the bullish side next week. Let's see what happens. If anything changes, I will keep you guys updated on the free channel. So if you guys are not in the free channel, guys, link is in the description if you made it this far. But yeah, going into next week, I would like to see price push up. The same thing, up, down sort of thing, until we get up to 2400 again. And then here, we're likely to see some sort of move. One thing I wanted to load up was, actually don't have it loaded up. It was actually, we'll check it from here. Is there any news going into next week? 1st of May we have PMI, and 1st of May being Wednesday. Wednesday we have PMI, and then Friday should be NFP. So those are the two news events. Monday, Tuesday should be just set up for Wednesday, and then after Wednesday, I would wait till NFP. You don't want to be trading Thursday because that's usually set up for NFP. But if you get that set up and if it looks sort of good to trade, then yeah, you can trade, but I wouldn't advise it. So that's pretty much my outlook. Just to recap, I'm expecting price to keep pushing up, and these are the levels that you end up getting resistance. So I wouldn't want to be buying within these fair value gap levels. You want to see the retests to then buy. You want to buy as low as possible, but my main aim is probably to target at least 2400. I'm going to keep that bullish stance unless we get lows broken. So if this 2312 lower gets broken, then we're likely to see price push back down towards 2288 and then potentially back down towards 2266. So 2 scenarios, 2 plans. We're ready for the week. Hope you guys have a great week. It's been Always FX. Peace out.